All right, welcome back. We are game 3001 in the summer 2021 semester, and it's week 4, part 2 of our broadcast. And this time, what we're talking about is we're going to be talking about assignment 2 details. So I kind of talked about that assignment 2 is due week 6. Let's take a look at that document that I've already shared with you up online. So what is assignment 2? Well, let's do Sunday, June 20th by midnight. That's when it's due. And in this assignment, it says you may work alone or with a partner. And I agree, you can work alone. However, I recommend not doing so. And the reason for this is because this is more of a media assignment. And I'd like you to work with a partner if possible. If you cannot find a partner, I'm okay with you working alone, but you need to still join a group. Okay, so one thing to note is if I look up on Blackboard, there is a area here with users and groups. And if I go to groups, you can see that there are A2 groups that I've created. Some groups are already full. There's plenty of groups that are empty. For example, group 13, group 14, group 15. These are all empty groups. You need to go and sign up on your own. It's a self-enroll. It's not me going to enroll you. You have to enroll yourself. So if you choose to work on your own, which is acceptable but not preferred, then please go and sign up for group. One of the groups. What happens if you sign up for a group and you made a mistake and you're signed up for a group, then you don't want to work with somebody, or someone kind of joined you and you never talked to them, like a random joiner, a rando. I don't know if there's a better way to say that. You don't want to work with that person. You need to message me, my friends. Okay, you cannot unenroll or from a group. You can't leave a group on your own. The only person that can make you leave a group is me or Alex. So please make sure you let me know if you've made a mistake and you've signed up for a group that includes another person that you do not want to work with, okay? Otherwise, you'll be stuck with that person and both of you will get the exact same mark, right? So that's a problem. A couple of mandatory criteria. Mandatory criteria we talked about before, things you must do, just like for assignment 1, a couple of things are required. Start scene is almost identical. There's no difference. I mean, really, at the end of the day, we're going to use our template just like we've done before. So you get like 5 free points just for doing a start scene, which is pretty cool. And also the play scene starts off, and now the play scene has a bunch of different things. One of them is a tile class that we're going to ask you to do. And I'm going to help you with the tile class starting today in lab. So this is something that we're going to be talking about. You must create a grid of tiles that will allow you to use pathfinding. And this could be some kind of vector or array structure. It's up to you how you want to do that. Whatever data structure you want to use to represent grids and tiles is totally fine. You can do whatever you like. Each tile object in your map should have a cost value associated with it, passing through it. I recommend start off with a tile value of 1. And now, make sure you have an appropriate actor sprite. Your actor sprite must be your own. All right, which means please don't use the sprites I kind of show you, in lab. The sprite I show you in lab is an example. I want you to figure out how to, have your own sprites for your assignment 2, just like I asked you for assignment 1. Again, this could be a spaceship, a car, an animated character, or something else. It's up to you what you've chosen, but it cannot be what I'm showing you. So please don't use my sprites. All right, that would be not good. The actor will be able to navigate the tiles by only moving right, left, up, or down. So like we said earlier in the lecture portion, you can only have up, right, left, and left, right, up, and down. You can't move diagonally. That's the game rules I'm giving you, okay? Again, to any open neighbor. And what this means is if the neighbor hasn't been visited before and if there's no block, okay? The actor must be oriented properly using the look where you're going algorithm. Okay, now back to behavior, steering behavior. So that means you have to look where you're going. You can't just move up to the side or backwards. You can't go backwards. You can't, think about your actor or your sprite as having a thrust that only moves forward. So you have to turn. There might be turning costs. And some people have done that in previous semesters. They've added a turning cost. When I need to turn, it costs 1. Okay? That kind of stuff. Create an interesting map that is overlaid on top of the tile in grid system. So interesting map people have asked what that is. That means you can choose map tiles that you want to lay on top of it. In other words, I don't want to see your tile and grid system. I want to look at the interesting map, all right, by default, which means, and you can use systems like Tiled to do that. So there is a system called Tiled, and Tiled is a map editor that looks like this, that allows you to use some kind a tile system, a tile texture or tile sprites, if you will, and you can make the tile map look very nice by basically drawing out the tiles. So you can use Tiled, you can export from tiles, and then what you want to do is you want to be able to use the exported value, and I'll talk about how to do that if we have time this semester. Or if you don't want to use Tiled and you just want to basically overlay your own system, you can use, there's different ways of doing tile maps. One of them is to use some kind of string values for each object. So each texture could have a string representation. For example, if there was grass, it would be G for the string instead of an array. Whereas if there was water, it would be W. And then you could kind of make your some kind of string that you save to a file, and the file itself, the level file, is something that you would load in. We're going to talk about how to do that in lab, which is very interesting. All right, and how does it work with our SDL engine? Is there something that helps you? Right now there is not, but I'm going to help you do it, okay? So that is an interesting map. You need to make your own interesting map. Please do not use a white background and nothing in between, okay? Again, this can be a bit creative. Ensure the map includes obstacles. You can have mountains or walls or debris or whatever that are impassable. Impassable means you cannot pass through them. Similar to what we showed you in the grid idea. You can't pass through these tiles because these are impassable. Think about them as an I tile for impassable. All right. You may use a tile map set or simply draw your map tiles individually. It's up to you. If it's easier for you to draw your map tiles individually on top of the grid, it's totally up to you, right? Add text, a label for the play scene to provide instructions to the user. You can also use IMGUI for this, as well as a label for the play scene to show the total path cost. That is also something you can do. I would recommend that outside of IMGUI so you can see the total path cost as well. And the play scene must include appropriate background music. Some people have not done that for assignment 1. Make sure you have appropriate background music and sound effects. Guys, this is a gaming course, not a computer science course. So let's make it fun. Let's add some additional background noises and sound effects. And this is why it's good to combine with another person. There's a lot of details here compared to assignment 1. You will create code to implement the A-star pathfinding algorithm. So notice I'm not allowing you to use Dijkstra's or something else in the start scene. Pathfinding, heuristic, and mapping function, you need to make one of those that uses either Manhattan distance or Euclidean distance or your own. You can make your own heuristic. And you need to have a debug view that when you press the H key or some kind of key, it's gonna show the tile borders, and it's going to actually show your grid laid over on top of your the tiles that you have. So a grid, an overlay that you're going to show. So I can see your grid and the total tile cost. I want to be able to see that if I need to. You need to have a starting tile and a goal tile. The start tile basically tells you where you're going from, and the goal tile is basically where you're going to to go to. It says the user can left click on any open tile in the debug view and select it as the starting tile. So there is some kind of ability for you to select a tile anywhere. And the way you would do that, left clicking, you can make all tiles a button, or you can, whenever you left click, again, this is an event interaction. What you can do is you can take the location that you've clicked, convert it to a tile on the grid, and that would be where your starting tile is. So you should be able to dynamically select your starting tile and dynamically select your goal tile. So it's not set up right away. So this is kind of some stuff that you need to do. Programming. You're going to have some obstacle tiles, like we talked about, that are impassable. So that means that pathfinding algorithm will ignore them and basically go around them. You're going to also find and display the shortest path. Again, this is mandatory. And you're going to move the actor along the shortest path somehow using the look where you're going algorithm. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. And then, of course, you're going to use Git and GitHub for source control. This is something that's in there now. A submission, you need to remove garbage files like we talked about, a short video. I've seen some people in assignment 1. I've looked over some assignment 1s that you've submitted, and people did not include a title slide. Guys, you will lose marks if you do not include a slide that basically shows a current image of you. People haven't really read the details somehow. And your full name, student ID, course code, course name. Some people completely miss this requirement, and you'll lose marks for your video presentation because of it. Okay, so just letting you know. So please follow the details. Everything is in here. It talks about this. It also talks about if you're late. So people have asked, can you give me an extension, professor? The answer is typically no, not because I want to be mean, but because we just don't have time this semester. This semester is in many ways more challenging because we're in the summer and we have a lot of holidays that come up, and it will be it's going to slow us down rather than help us if I move things around as we go forward. Now, Alex may choose a different policy in the second half of the semester. I doubt it, but there are no extensions. I'm not moving the due dates for the assignment. So you can ask if you have an accommodation, like I said earlier in lecture. I can certainly accommodate you if you have an accommodation letter. But if it's just you need more time because you don't know what to do, that's on you, my friends. I'm sorry. Assignment weight is 15% of the course, like we talked about before. And there's a breakdown of the marks. Now, what I'm going to be doing for both assignment 1 and assignment 2 is I'm going to be using a rubric. And how does the rubric make sense when I have marks associated with everything? Well, I'm going to be doing something like this. I figured out that I'm going to use kind of labels to kind of give you a level of achievement for your rubric. There was an old Marvel superheroes game that I used to play back in the day. It was a desktop role-playing game similar to Dungeons & Dragons. And what they had for each character's ability, for example, if you were the Hulk, you might have an unearthly strength, that's 100. If you were Aunt May, you might have a feeble strength, which is a 2, as an example, right? Most people had a typical strength, and endurance and that kind of stuff, right? And so you could design a typical non-player character or NPC around the 6 time frame, right? This kind of thing. So that's Marvel, but we're not Marvel. We're doing grades, and what I'm going to be doing is a range of 0 to 50 is a feeble achievement. Okay, that's what I'm going to. So when you see feeble on your rubric, it means that you've missed like more than half of your stuff, right? And this is for each level. So for example, let's suppose that in the thing I say the start scene, well, really there's only 5 points you can get. So hopefully everyone will get 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 is going to be unearthly. It's going to be like you're going to achieve the top rank for that particular requirement, right? But for example, let's suppose that you've lost 5 marks. Between monstrous and unearthly, you're going to get, there's a 5-mark spread. Between amazing and monstrous, there's a 5-mark spread. And I'm going to give you these levels of achievement, and you'll see a marker in there. Really what happens is you'll keep getting some kind of part marks until you get to poor. And then from there, from poor to feeble, it's 0, right? So if you've lost more than half your marks, you'll get some mark between 0 and 50, depending on what you've added in. So when you see this, when I mark your assignment 1 or assignment 2, it's a rank between this 4 and typical, and you'll have a rank, an achievement. So I'm just gamifying it for you. It doesn't mean anything. I'm still going to use these little things here. I'm still going to do this, but you're going to get some number up to 25 for your placing. That's what's going to happen for assignment 1 or assignment 2. All right, questions around assignment 2. We talked about that, or the rubric that I just talked about. So assignment 2, again, just to let you know, is due Sunday, June 20th by midnight. Guys, sign up for a group today, even if you're working alone, right? And start work on this thing as soon as possible. You can get a lot of it done already because you need to do some stuff. You need to decide some sprites for your background and to make an interesting map. You got to get some, background music and You also have to get some sound effects, right, for doing stuff, passing through maybe walking your character around or whatever. So these are things you don't have to wait for me for. You can do it right now, right? So get going on this stuff so you can start your assignment 2, collect the information, and maybe get a partner to help you out on this one, because there's a lot to do here. And it's going to be a lot of work for one person. So that's why we've made it possible for you to work with one other person. Total group size of 2, please. Yeah. Questions around assignment 2. Again, due week 6. So, yeah, no randos, I'm sorry. On Blackboard, it looks like I'm already in an empty group, and I don't know why. Okay, I'm not sure, Kim. I can remove you if you want. Maybe you've signed up for it by yourself. Do you want to be in that group? What group are you in, Ken? And what I can do is, if you're in lab, if you want me to remove you in lab, if you don't want to answer now, that's okay. I can remove you in lab. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. Are you going to be in lab today, Paul? If you are, I can answer your question in lab as well. Okay, that's really it for me, guys, for the assignment requirements. And that's going to be, again, this is posted. No problem. Thanks, Paul. So I've posted these 2 videos up on Blackboard. So please, if you look up on Blackboard, the 2 videos for today are always going to be posted every single week. That's what we do. We post the videos here so you can see the lecture video as well as assignment 2 details video. So make sure you take a look at this when it comes to what I'm asking for assignment 2. I know I'm running over time, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop recording now, and I'll see you guys in lab in about an hour. Any questions before we're gone?